Hello class, I hope this message finds everybody safe and healthy at home. This semester has been a little bit unprecedented. The last few weeks have been a little unprecedented. So I hope all of you are staying safe, kind of staying away from everybody. What's the hard part about this quarantine is if it works correctly, it'll feel like nothing really happened because everybody stayed in. The virus, COVID-19 did not spread as much as they thought it would. So hopefully it's kind of uneventful the next few weeks. I know for me personally, I'm going a little bit stir crazy. I don't like to be locked up inside and I miss my sports. But we'll get through this and hopefully this will also be a productive semester for you. Ultimately, make sure we're going to talk about a few things today, but going forward, make sure that you turn in everything. This is really an odd class. Luckily, I can transition this class a little easier than, say, my public speaking class to an online. So we're going to kind of go through some stuff today. I want everybody to know if I sent you an academic warning or you're struggling with this class, you're not going to fail this class if you turn in everything going forward and do everything that you need to. And I'll kind of outline some of that. So as far as future assignments, the next assignment that is due is this Sunday at 3:29 at midnight. So that will be journal entry number 5. If you missed a journal entry, there's going to be an opportunity for you after spring break to make that up. So if you've turned one or you've written one and you tried to turn it in or something, I missed it, just hold on to it. You've already done the work. You'll have a chance to turn that in. It will not be for full points, but any points are good points at this point. Another thing that I want to talk about future assignments is start on the book work if you have not already done so. Because of the nature of these videos, are not going to be that long, so I'm really not going to dig into the material that much. So I want you to walk away having learned something. What's really unfortunate is this is the most fun I have, is once we get those building blocks, we can get into some of the more interesting material. But we'll do the best we can with how this class is going forward. A few of you have asked about the final paper. This will be due after break. We'll talk more in depth about this. I might do I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week, but I will go over this and give you a lot of examples. As far as the videos go, this is going to be a really boring one. I had these grandiose visions because I know how to edit software, or I know how to edit in the software. But unfortunately, my computer crashes every time I try to upload media. So all I can do right now is try to get the whole, just me talking to the camera. No, I was going to, I had these visions of doing nice, slick videos with my slides and everything. And unfortunately, that just has not happened. I will try to do more of these videos just to keep everybody on the same page. But this last paper, take it very seriously because it's worth a little bit more. It's worth more than that midterm, which we'll get to in a second. But it's going to be a rhetorical analysis, and I showed you an example of it, and I'll show more examples. But basically, you're going to take a song video, or a commercial, and try to break down the parts. What are they trying to say? Why are they communicating that? What's the pathos, ethos, and logos of the video? You're going to use a lot of the terminology and jargon that we learned to break apart the video. You should be able to do this with any piece of media. You can take a magazine cover, an ad in that magazine, a movie, and just break it apart and analyze it. Some of you might have taken a film studies class. They do a lot of rhetorical analysis of that. Sometimes you might think, there's not that much to it, but there always is. Everything is organized. Everything has a purpose. So that will be just a paper. This used to be normally this is a group project and it's a little bit more fun. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the class now, it can't be a group project. But there'll be examples. I'll give plenty of examples in the announcements page. Pay attention to the announcements because that's how I'm going to primarily talk to you. So real quick about the midterm, I turned in the grade. I graded them a while ago, but I was kind of back and forth on what to do. I gave everybody 12 extra points. So you got 12 points more than what you actually did. A lot of you, I shouldn't say a lot of you, some of you got A's, legit A's, and I want to reward you for that hard work. So that will be extra credit. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it in there, but you will get those points. I have it written down. I have everybody's grades written down. So they might vary a little bit from what you see online. Like I said, make sure you're doing everything going forward. Do your best, put an honest effort, and I will make sure I will reward you. Don't despair. Use all this as a learning experience because this is totally, I don't know, it's unprecedented, as I said before. Also, the midterm's not worth a ton of points. Some of you freaked out a little bit. That's kind of the nature of it. That's what's supposed to happen. You probably learned a lot about your test prep, what you need to work on, what you don't need to work on. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the final exam yet, just because I want to make sure it's fair and that people can, I don't know, it'll be online, of course, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So chapter 8, make sure you're reading this, by the way, and doing the work, because I'm not going to get too far into it. But chapter 8 is about emotion, and a lot of people probably have a lot of emotion right now. There's a lot of what we're going to talk about in the air. But there's a difference between an emotion and a mood. An emotion's very quick. You can't always control it. Those of you, maybe that you've gotten mad before, everybody gets mad, but you know you're just instantly, even if you don't say anything, those nonverbals people can tell. I've had times where I didn't say a word, but my face turned blood red because I was really angry. This is kind of juxtaposed in the book versus a mood. A mood's a little bit longer. You might just, with this quarantine, I can tell you for sure, my mood is a little bit depressed. I'm a little bit cranky because I'm stuck in here and I just want to go out. I want to play golf. I want to go to the movies and things like that. So remember, emotion short term, mood longer. Another term that I want to put in here that they don't talk about in the book is disposition. Disposition is just how that person operates. And there's people that just have maybe sour dispositions. Maybe you have a boss or a teacher that, just is a little bit cranky. So how you create relationships with those people, you might want to look at their emotion, their mood, or their general disposition. Remember, going back to social penetration theory, the more time you spend with somebody, the more they open up to you. So maybe if that person's disposition is not so positive to you, you can use some of the ideas that we learned in class. That idea that maybe you don't necessarily want to be around the person much, but by being around them more, they get to know you and you get to know them. So the book breaks up emotions into 3 major categories. The first is joy emotions, that happiness, love and passion, liking something. There's people that you probably have clicked with right away and you have positive emotions about them. Then they break it up into hostile emotions. That's anger, contempt, disgust, jealousy, envy. A lot of those are a little bit harder to put your finger on. Sometimes anger is an easy one. You can almost always kind of diagnose why you are angry. Sometimes you might have to diagnose. But some of them are a little bit harder. Jealousy and envy, you might not realize why you don't like that person, but it might be jealousy. That's something where you might have to look a little bit deeper because it's not quite so apparent on the surface. So when you're examining emotions in yourself and in others, realize that some of them just are very apparent, and some of them kind of hide, in the back of your head, and you don't think about it. And then we come to the third category, and this is sad or anxious emotions. So sadness, depression, grief, fear, social anxiety. There's a lot of that going on with this coronavirus going around. A lot of people are fearful. You probably have heard the stories about the hoarding. I normally go to the grocery store quite often. I just buy a couple meals at a time. We do have some food stocked away. But lately when I've gone, I've seen fear control spending habits. I was at Martin's today. They had a little bit of toilet paper, but it was almost all bought out. There wasn't any hand sanitizer. Makes you wonder, like looking at this, I'm wondering, like, did people not wash their hands before this pandemic? Did they not wash their hands? Because all of a sudden they have to have all the soap in the world. So those emotions can guide. So when we're looking at emotions, we always want to look at the context around how those emotions. Culture makes a big difference in emotion. The geography and the cultures have different emotions. Some of you that watch ESPN's First Take, or you do sports in general, those guys yell at each other. Stephen A. Smith, he gets pretty animated. That's because the culture is sports. And in sports, you kind of almost expect your coach to yell at you a little bit. You expect him to get on you a little bit. If you acted like that, and let's say, I don't know, just different settings other than the sports setting, that might be entirely out of the norm of what's normal. Computer-mediated communication. There's a lot of emotions that get expressed there, especially in some of the anonymous websites like Reddit. People will just tear into each other, and in the end, they only do it because they're hiding behind the keyboard. They would never say something like that to somebody face to face. So realize computer-mediated communication has a huge influence on emotions and how you express those emotions. One of the most important aspects of emotion is called emotional contagion. And that's just the idea that if you're in a bad mood, you can put others in a bad mood. I'm sure plenty of you have had a mother or a father, or brother or sister that were just in a horrible mood, and that just translated. Whatever you put out there will go. Like you just put it out there. And then finally, personality. That's a huge influence, just how you're built. Some people are just agreeable. I'm pretty chill for the most part. Some people just a little bit just don't have, their disposition's not quite as affable. They're just kind of angry all the time. If that is you, by the way, you can totally control that. You can change that disposition. You can change your moods a little bit more. Pure emotion, though, is hard because it's just a gut reaction. So, once again, kind of like what I said, these will not be very long videos, but I wanted to talk about ultimately when we're dealing with emotions. And the number one thing is take responsibility for your emotions. Own up to it. It will go a lot further than just denying them. It shows maturity. Everyone gets angry at some point. Maybe taking a step back, maybe counting to 10, taking a walk. You can step back, look at things logically. I know sometimes I get angry and I just need to step away. Another thing that I think is important is separate emotion from your actions. We see that with the fear, with the pandemic going around. Everybody's emotional, they're fearful. So what do? They act upon that fear and buy 70 cases of toilet paper, even though they will not use it all. So it's taking a step back and realizing that you're fearful might help you make better decisions going forward. So always be mindful of your emotions. Think about how they influence others, and take responsibility for those. So that's about all I have. Make sure you're reading, keeping up on the book. Remember, this Sunday is journal entry number 5. If you've missed a journal entry, you will get an opportunity to turn that in. Start thinking about your rhetorical analysis paper. I will give bonus points if you can pick a song that I would actually listen to, if it's on my playlist. So that might be kind of fun. You can try to figure out what I might actually listen to. So until I talk to you next, I hope everybody stays safe. Wash your hands. Try to stay inside as much as you can. And I know it's no fun, but it is what it is, and we will get through. Stay positive. Stay calm. Carry on. And this semester, you can do it. I have faith in all of you. Later.